Okay, I'm going to cover part by part. Not really part by part, but I'm going to cover the simple issues I have with the franchise. Part 1. Part 1 of my issues, if you will, is the fact that the side characters, or the main characters, if you're speaking more literally, have no importance, to the point they're side characters. Naruto does this too with characters like Sakura, who has less importance in canon than even the side characters have, even though she's one of the main characters. Yu-Gi-Oh! Has the same issue. They have characters like Hirito Honda, Otogi, and Anzu Mizaki, who do literally nothing to benefit or increase the story. Not increase the story, but increase the narrative tension, or increase anything that the story would provide. And then again, even when they are important, they're used as a motivator, as like I said before a few seconds ago, a narrative tension. They're not used to in any way make the story more interesting. And later on, all they do is annoy you, because all they do is remind you of their existence when their existence is not of importance. See, this is what I get. This is what I have with issues of characters like this. I would explain this in, I think, the Dragon Ball Super rant. Kaba's character is based off Vegeta. You care about Kaba because you care about Vegeta, but he doesn't have the role. Okay, I'm not gonna get into it, but you care about Anzu because you care about Yugi's character. You care about Hirito Honda's character because you care about Yugi's character. That's bad character writing, because your character is a nobody who has no individual characteristics for someone to care about, which means they're not interesting. And this also shows, because they have no fucking relevance in the story, and they do nothing to benefit or make the story more interesting. All they do is say, oh man, Yugi's really powerful, he beat this guy, and he's really a good duelist, and that's all they do in the story, really. They're just kind of banters, they're like the kind of Dragon Ball Z fighters in the way to have. Krillin's just like, oh man, Goku turned Super Saiyan, he's really amazing. Even, I know he was dead, and that's how he turned Super Saiyan, but it's the point. They're literally just like cheerleaders. That's literally what their importance is. They're the cheerleaders. They're like, let's go, Yugi, let's go. That's all they do. And when they do have importance, it's in a fucking filler arc. For example, Honda's only important scene in the entire fucking series is in the Noah's arc, or the virtual world arc, or whatever you want to fucking call it. That's the only scene where he has importance. Not the only scene, but the only arc where he has importance. In the manga, he doesn't have much importance. In the anime, he has like one arc where he's slightly relevant. And I think this just kind of shows to the anime writers are like, oh fuck, these characters are useless. How about we try to write them into the story and make them important? Because they're actually supposed to be main characters and have some sort of relevance because of that, but they don't. And that's why I hate these type of fucking stories where they have main characters who do jack shit. And it's annoying that I have to watch them when they do jack shit and have no interesting characteristics to me. Oh yeah, I'm supposed to really like Honda's character when he has no interesting qualities outside of, oh yeah, I'm Joey's friend and I'm also Yugi's friend. So yeah, that's about my entire fucking character right there. And the fact they give little baby Yugi the duel to atem is utterly disgusting when Seto Kaiba has had all this fucking build-up throughout the entire franchise to have a duel with him. Yugi has very little to no build-up to fight atem. Very little to no build-up. Even Janucci has build-up to fight atem. I can name a character at the cast and say, yes, this character has some form of build-up to fight atem. Weevil. Even Rex Raptor has some relevance to fight atem. But the reason why they did Yugi was so they can perpetuate in the next season that they didn't make, because they didn't want to make it, I guess, that Yugi would be the main star, which is why DSOD stars Yugi, because they wanted to move on with the next generation, but the next generation is boring, and Yugi's not an interesting character. Yugi does have some interesting qualities, yes, but he's the main character, and he has the main character syndrome where he's just bullshittingly fucking powerful. But no real reason. And he did have some reason with atem, because he was like an ancient Egyptian pharaoh with all this fucking magic and shit, but now he doesn't really. And people like to say, oh yeah, Yugi has some relevance. No, like, Yugi, if you're speaking Muto Yugi, he doesn't. Every time, even in his own fucking movie, DSOD, he has to have atem save him. Even in his own fucking movie, he has to have atem save him. In my opinion, I think atem just fucking let him win. Why do I say that? There's no all showcasings and all story in canon points to atem being way fucking stronger than he is by all merits. And they had the fucking ass pull Yugi to even beat atem. Which shows something. And like I was saying before, Yugi is literally just called a vessel by a lot of like the more cynical characters. If that just shows how important characters think he is. Agami just was a lazy, rewritten character. I really didn't think he was that interesting. His mentor Shadi or whatever got killed by Bakura, like the evil Bakura, but really doesn't have any relevance to the current story. You're like, it does, because no, it doesn't. The evil Bakura got killed by Yugi. Normal Bakura is alive and he's living his own life. I don't get what the importance of having him in. He wants revenge on the Pharaoh, despite the Pharaoh not doing anything. Oh no, he wants to stop the revival of the Pharaoh, because if the Pharaoh gets revived, he loses his powers or some shit. And Seto Kaiba is just so bullshittery powerful at this point with all his technology, you can just ignore magic. I think that's more to do with his kind of the fact that he's a reincarnation of fucking magician, if you will. That has to do with it, but I definitely think it's due to his immense technology. Immensely powerful technology, which I was trying to say. But it's just the fact that they write these kind of characters and have no importance. Like, for example, they have, what was his name? Ryoga, Mako in the dub. He does 2 duels in the entire franchise and doesn't have any relevance outside of them. These tournament duels often used to showcase, oh man, that main character is really powerful, is he not? That's kind of what these duels are meant to showcase. And even with the one duel that Honda had, I know I whack on Honda a lot, but he doesn't do anything, which is why I whack on him, because he has individualistic characteristics, yes, but he doesn't have any that are meaningful to the plot. And even the fucking side villain, Anubis, has backstory and some amount of interesting character. But I mean, that's mostly derivative of his design, which, I mean, at least he has that going for him. He has an interesting design, and his backstory has some interest to it. Why is it, and just on another topic, why does everyone want revenge on the Pharaoh when in story he doesn't seem to do anything that would warrant revenge? His father does something, yes, but he's not his father. Bakura definitely has some merit as to why he wants to kill Yugi, and people who try to use Bakura as a good character, he's not. He doesn't give a shit that his clan got slaughtered. He's delusional because of that, definitely. That's definitely the reason why he's so fucking delusional and nuts, but that's not his motivation, so it's not really of an important factor to consider. Oh yeah, on the topic of that, Bakura is just an evil for the sake of being evil character. Even when they try to give him like a sympathy motive, like, oh yeah, he's kind of a sympathetic villain, they say, yeah, I didn't really give a shit that my clan got slaughtered, it just kind of made me a delusional fucking nut. It does provide a reason as to why he's a delusional fucking nut, but it doesn't give us any amount of sympathy, as he doesn't give a shit about that fact. So, there's that. At least Kaiba, when he doesn't give a shit, he's Kaiba, so he has that reason. He's like, I'm just fucking Kaiba and I don't give a shit. He's a bit cynical and a bit kind of vindictive, but he acts out of self-benefit. So I can kind of understand that from a motive perspective. But Bakura is just evil because he wants to be evil. And that's kind of dumb to I. And Malik's backstory is just as fucking dumb. He's like, I want to kill the Pharaoh because he killed my father, even though I have no evidence portraying that. And he sucks at doing it too. And he has no redeeming characteristics to make him interesting as a villain. And another fact is, people like to say, oh man, oh yeah, just on topic, they redeemed Malik, but he never did anything to make him. He's like, oh, I'm sorry, I just almost killed you. I almost made your friend jump into the fucking lake because I was mind controlling him. But everything is cool. They never have like a redemption arc for him. I'm not expecting much because this is a fucking filler advertisement shit. But I kind of expected more if they're going to be this fucking edgy with the kind of plot. I kind of expected more decency when it comes to characterization. But then again, bad character writing does exist in the show because they need to sell cards. That's why it's so bad. They just want to sell cards and they don't care about the motive. The original manga was with that intention, I know. But it's really obvious when you watch the anime, that's how it's made up to be. And like I said before, there's no redemption arc for Malik, so him being good is just kind of like, why do you accept him being a good guy when... We're not even including just the Yami Malik shit or the Dark Malik shit, because Dark Malik is stated to be and shown to be a different entity than normal Malik. He's shown to be an entirely different character and a different entity than Malik. But Malik himself has almost killed Yugi 3 times, and is sadistic as shit, and almost got his brother killed. This is normal Malik. He still did a lot of things that were vindictive and absolutely fucking insane, yet characters still accept him for being a good guy, and still kind of get over that. And this simply just shows that they don't put any effort or realistic kind of characterization, realistic type thinking on these characters. They just kind of assume you're dumb enough to buy it. Most of these people are, so what am I expecting? If someone like that said, oh yeah, I'm kind of sorry that I almost made you self-suicide, and I'm sorry that I told my minion to cuff himself to do a Saw-ass style game and almost cut your leg off. I'm sorry about that. But the thing is about this is they don't play it up as he's sorry. They just say, yeah, he kind of did it, but it's over. All the villains have very little character to them. Yu-Gi-Oh's kind of a shittily written show, so what am I to expect? I do play the card game and watch the anime a lot, but that's mostly because I play the card game a lot. It's more or less, I play the card game, so I watch the anime by extension of that. So, I guess that's kind of how it is for me. I would go into GX, but I haven't watched enough of GX to make a whole fucking rant on it. Oh yeah, back on topic, when people say, oh yeah, the show sucks as it doesn't have rules. That's Duel's Kingdom A, which didn't have the established rules. And that's not a reasoning for a show to suck. There's many reasons Yu-Gi-Oh! As a fucking show sucks. But the cards not being the same as real life, or the rules not being the same, is not a fucking reason for a show being anticlimactic or being non-realistic in the sense of characterization. That is not a reason. But people like to think it is. Because the anime was made before the cards. That's how this works. A lot of times in the radio seasons, I'm not the most knowledgeable in the radio seasons, but I can tell you this for a fact, because I've watched enough Yu-Gi-Oh! The radio seasons will use the real-life TCG versions of cards. For example, let's say Chaz, we're using Chaz as an example. I think Chaz does this a few times. He uses the XYZ Cannon's kind of original effect. Like the TCG effect, actually, now that you think about it, because this TCG effect was the original effect at that point, because they released it prior to GX airing. So, Chaz is a bad example, but Reggie Akaba, for example, I can name one card on top of my head. DD Savant, I think it's called Kepler, and the card in and of itself was used up to episode 51 with an anime effect. But then after episode 51, it was used as a TCG effect, because once they make the TCG cards, once they adapt the anime cards into a TCG format, they use the TCG cards in the anime format because it's more easier for viewers to kind of know what the card does if they do it that way, and it makes the marketing for the cards a lot better too, so they can market what they're selling a lot easier. And one of the reasons people say, but you know, this is like some of the things you've said issues with the dub, and you are wrong with that, but And also, another thing I hate about the dub, they can't even write the fucking names on the cards. They have to just, like, plaster, like, the fake. It looks so fake, like, the way they draw the cards in the anime, in the dub. I'm referring to purely the sub here, but it just kind of annoys me on how they artistically draw them. And people like to say it's due to kind of advertisement wise. And I could see that as a reason, but the show is so clearly advertising, it isn't funny. Even if the cards look slightly different, it's clearly fucking advertisement. And just another thing. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is marketed towards teens, if we're being honest on what the actual demographic is. So expecting a better story out of it should be kind of guaranteed. I should get something of a better quality when it's marketed for someone who has a bigger intellect. Generally speaking, teenagers are dumb, but when this was airing, teenagers weren't retards. So, I would say they're a bit naive and impulsive at that point, but that's most people who are young. So, my question is, why does people think this show and franchise is so great? I mean, let's just use DM. Why do people... Let me ask this ask this basic question. Why do you think DM as a Yu-Gi-Oh! Show is so great and so better than the rest when it has its handful of fucking issues? Some of which I named. I'm just gonna do another video, kind of a sequel to this, as I probably didn't cover everything, and I'm probably not perfectly articulating my points well enough, as I'm kind of a bit tired. But this is Bob74H, signing off.